Hello, everybody. Welcome to another session, another podcast, another episode of Inspiring Educators. And we have somebody who has had wide variety of experience in education, a very inspirational person, gold medalist right from the university days, Punjab University, then has worked with some stellar schools, right? Some of the best schools in the country. And now she is the director principal at Shiv Nadar School, Gurgaon. Ma'am, welcome to the podcast. All of us teachers and teaching professionals would love to know, learn from you, learn about you and learn about the teaching profession from you.
Good evening, and thank you so much for those very kind words. I think this journey of life as educators, we keep learning from each other, we keep learning from our students, and only if we are lifelong learners can we really contribute.
Absolutely. So how did you decide, or first, when did you decide and how did you decide to come into teaching? Like, was it by chance, by choice? The first time when you thought that, okay, I'm going to be a teacher now.
So it was by chance. It was not by choice really in the beginning. I was a stay-at-home mom with I have an elder daughter and a younger son. So when the younger one started school, and that was in Springdale, Dholakwa, so I applied to be a storyteller or a substitute teacher in nursery, kindergarten. I said, I'm bored at home. Both of them, they come back like around 2 o'clock. So let me also, sometimes do this. And I was always an academic student, loved books and loved everything to do with the school. So Mrs. Bose was the principal, and I put in my application, and immediately the junior headmistress said, the principal wants to meet you. And I was wondering, I said, I'm just applying as a substitute, like, you can call me whenever you need me. I could come do some stories or do something with the nursery, kindergarten kids and come back with my children. Like my younger one was coming back earlier, around 12, and I said I could come back early. And that was in my mind. And Mrs. Bose said that we're in dire need of an economics teacher. And our teachers just left to do her PhD. So we have a space. I told her, listen, I left economics about 10 years ago. I've been a stay-at-home mom. I don't think I remember anything. And she says, no, you've written, you're a gold medalist at the university in your master's, and you've done an economics honors. So why don't you give it a try?
Right.
So I said, I might make mistakes. So she says, that's okay. We all make mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. And so they gave me a 1-month contract. And this was August of 1995. And the children had just had their unit tests. So I was given 3 bundles to check from grade 11 and 9. And I think that was a dire need of the school at that point of time. And that was the start. From 1-month contract, it went on to 3 months contract. And then Mrs. Bose told me after the first month that the children are saying very good things about you. So why don't you seem to be a natural at this. Why don't you join, do a B.Ed if you want to make a career in this. And I said, okay, where do I do B.Ed? I had no clue. So she says, no, Annamalai, it's the last year that you can do online. And I think after that, you will have to do a full-time. So I said, okay, great. So I applied at Annamalai. Within a year, I think I got that. So my 1-month contract became 3 months, 3 months became 6 months. Then the first year, they gave me a contract for another year. And by that time, my B.Ed results were out. And we were shifting to, 2 years were at Springdale. We were shifting to DLF at that point of time. Our house was being built.
Right.
And so I applied to Sri Ram School and I got in and stayed there for 16 years. So
you see, while you might think that it was by chance, the first step that you took was by choice, right?
Yeah,
the first step was where you really wanted to go and spend that time in doing something. And maybe it came out of a desire to spend more time in the school and use that time, but it was the desire which matters, right? And that's what we always talk about. Having those people who have a desire to do things are usually the best people who can go out and teach others, right? And while that was the first step, I think the wider society is thankful that you took that first step, and today we have a leader who has been guiding not just hundreds and thousands of teachers, but almost tens of thousands of learners every year. So, so by chance, by choice, I'll shift towards by choice here than by chance.
Now that you say that, I would say that, the universe conspired to get me in a place where I could make a difference, perhaps. So after the first week, I realized that, I have been missing this academia, the world of academia in my life, and this is where I want to be. Yeah. And that also helped me choose. So,
wow. And tell me, what were some of the challenges that you faced? Because what I hear clearly is that you started, and after that, you were told to get some professional training around teaching and everything. So you were more of a natural, right? So as a natural teacher, what were some of the challenges that you faced in the first year?
So I think the biggest challenge was one. I had studied in a small town, in a convent school. So I was this Miss Goody Goody, and I was in school only till grade 10. After that, I had done my pre-university and then moved to college. And the pre-university was also in college. So at 15 years, I had entered college already. So, and it was an all-girls college. So wasn't used to dealing with grown-up boys and girls. So the first challenge was in how strict should I be and how lenient. Right. So I preferred being friendly with them because I knew from my own experience, although my own children were younger, that if you come down very harshly on 16, 17-year-olds, and I was given grade 11 and 12 to teach, they don't listen to you. You need to connect with them first, and then you can, get them to listen to what you have to say. Absolutely. So I think the biggest challenge was that sometimes I think I was too lenient. The first year, especially while I was cutting my teeth and being thrown in the deep end, because 11th, 12th is always a challenge. So I must have made a lot of mistakes, I'm sure.
And I think, as teachers, as educators, we have to normalize this thought that it's okay to make mistakes, right? Imagine if somebody told you that, no, you will make a lot of mistakes, and that is why, Monica, you can't be a teacher. Imagine what the world would have missed, right? A person who then guided so many people. And I'm not
in
saying
fact, one of my mentors, she told me, Mrs. Adams, I really consider, I feel that she has a hand in shaping all of us at Shiv Nadar School when we were all there in the beginning years. So she told me, because she was giving me subjects that I'd never taught before, math for 7th and commerce for 9th, because the school was new, and she says, I don't have a full load to give you. I'll give you economics for one section, but you have to teach math in 7th and commerce in grade 9. We have a full-fledged 100-mark paper. I told her, Mrs. Adams, I will make lots of mistakes. You'll have parents complaining. She's saying, as long as you make fresh mistakes every time and don't repeat the old ones, we are behind you every step of the way. And that gave me a lot of confidence that somebody's got my back that way.
That's such a powerful statement, right? You just have to make sure that you're making fresh mistakes, because that's how learning really happens. And if you're not making mistakes, you're actually not learning. You're actually not growing. And
absolutely.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And also another point that you mentioned in your description, that since you were teaching 11th and 12th, and those were the kids at that time who wanted or who would have required you to come to their level and then teach, being more friendly. I think 11th and 12th at that time, and even 1st and 2nd grade today, require the same things, right? Today,
absolutely. I think the kind of mischief the 16, 17-year-olds would get up to about, I would say 25 years ago, is today what grade 5 and 6 do.
Absolutely.
Because the children have really evolved. By the 11th and 12th, they've already done everything. They are old hands, they've settled down. And it is grades 5, 6, 7 who give you the most grief. They are the naughtiest, they are defying authority. The tweens are the new teens, I would say.
Absolutely. Me and my wife, she's a clinical psychologist. We always talk about this, that that teenage behavior is now seen in the tweens, and oh my God. So the challenges that the teachers would be facing today would be, much larger. And as a leader or in education space, I'd love to know about from you that what are the challenges that you see your teachers facing today and, teachers around you facing today?
I think the last 2 years have been a challenge for every industry, and teachers, those challenges are fresh right now. So getting the children to come to school is one big challenge, especially the seniors. The younger ones are dying to come to school. The seniors, and some of them are quoting social anxiety, that, we don't want to come because we have social anxiety. And I do suspect some of them might be using that as an excuse also, because if you give a hybrid environment in which they also have online classes, then they take advantage of that, and social anxiety becomes the excuse for their laziness, for their tardiness to not get up early, because there's a discipline about coming to school, reporting on time, and, going through the whole schedule. At home, in front of the laptop, when your parents are working, you have the choice of switching off. Switching off your camera, walking around, going away while a class is going on. In a physical space, you don't have that. So getting them engaged enough to come to school is important. That has been the biggest challenge in the last 2 years. Also, when they've come back, especially I see in the primary, there are learning gaps. My teachers were laughing. They said that, ma'am, last year in the half-yearly exams, when everything was online, we said, in grade 1, the child can write a full sentence with basic punctuation, with capitals and full stops. But when they came to school from February onwards, we are seeing that they can't. That means, should we now write that someone in the house has written for them full sentences with punctuation? And just majority of them, because we understand also at home, it's not easy to get the child to do that work. It's easier to do it yourself and finish it off, but then the children their gaps have been accentuated because of that. Because sometimes taking the easy way out and not going through the tough road and making them write, form sentences, form letters in the right way. Grade 3, the letter formation, word formation has gone for a toss. We've had to work right from the beginning. April has been really difficult, but because they're older, I think the learning has been stupendous. The trajectory has been really steep. So they've learned very quickly, but they were forgetting letter formations in Hindi, which is not used so often, especially. We had to go right to the basics and do the Varnmala again in grade 3. Things are much better now after about 7 weeks, I would say, now that they're ready to go for the summer vacations. But we've had a lot of remediation. So learning gaps has been the biggest challenge, and emotional safety of the children. Getting them.
It's like, earlier the physical component was majorly, managing the physical component of the classroom was majorly about literally the physical component inside the classroom. But with pandemic, it actually extended to, from just physical to even the online physical part of the classroom, wherein we have to look at, are their cameras on, not on, are they really engaged? And then, as you mentioned, there's no measure to actually check whether the work was really done by the learner himself. And then later, once the learning outcomes are not met, actually it becomes the teacher and the school to blame, while nobody really wants to take the I'll not say the difficult way, but the logical way of learning, that, the child needs to do it himself or herself so that he develops the skill. It's not about ticking a box that the sentence was written, but was it really the child who wrote it or not, right? And as a teacher...
Another challenge, I would say, is, in fact, I have had meetings with our PRG members, which are parent representative groups, who are saying that you should be giving a hybrid version. We were very strict about it in April, that no, only if you are COVID positive will you stay at home, and we'll give you that online connect. Otherwise, it's compulsory for everybody to come to school. And they were fighting with me that why are we being so strict? I said, you don't even realize that in primary especially, 50% of the day is on academics.
Right.
50% of the day, which is in non-academic engagements, is more important, because that is where they're learning conflict resolution, they're learning collaboration, they're learning decision making and choices.
Yeah.
And that's a huge loss, because academics, you can put a tutor and teach the child. But the non-academic learning which happens in a school amongst your peers is something you cannot emulate. You cannot create an artificial environment for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And somewhere during the pandemic, somehow this image was created, of course, with billions of dollars being spent into ad money by so many edtechs. But then this image was created that if you know how to write or you solve maths problems, you are educated. No, we were literally forced into thinking that social emotional learning has the second or maybe the third place in the child development, but that's actually the first place. Everything else follows, right?
Absolutely.
And now that you say it, finding teachers who really understand that would be so difficult, right? Because at the end of the day, the people who want to become teachers or get into teaching are the same people who do not have this perception about teaching actually. So how do you find teachers or people who apply to you to get to work with you, closely with you? What do you look for in them?
Well, we don't really have a very good teacher training system in India. While there is a B.Ed degree, and you and I know how easy it is to get that degree without being a teacher at heart.
Right.
So at the Shiv Nadar School, we ask for 3 things in a teacher. Now that ask is an acronym. Right. So A stands for attitude. The first thing is attitude. Positive, a learning attitude. If the person is an avid reader, if the person is willing to learn from their mistakes, willing to take feedback, is non-judgmental about children. I think that attitude is really important.
Right.
Is willing to disagree without being disagreeable is one of the most important attributes, of any space, any organization.
Absolutely.
The S in that ask is skills. Now, skills can still be taught. Right. Skills of classroom management, skills of maintaining discipline without raising your voice. Those skills, they do come with experience, but they can be taught. Attitude can't be taught.
Right.
So attitude comes first, skills come second, knowledge comes last. Because today knowledge is available at the click of a button.
Yeah.
So it is in that order that we look for, teachers. And I still say that teachers from very good schools also who are coming to me, it takes us 2 to 3 years to make them Shiv Nadar School teachers.
Wow.
Because we need to work on attitude a lot. Right. To be comfortable, to be really comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Right.
To be agreeable or to disagree without being disagreeable.
Right.
Those are important traits which take you a lifetime to emulate. So,
and it makes so much sense, because there was a time when all it required for you to become a teacher, and I'm talking about 20, 30, maybe even 10 years ago, that if you were somebody who had a PhD in some subject, you could become a teacher. It's now, over the last 10 years, that people realize that no, maybe you might have a bit less of subject knowledge that you could learn.
Yeah.
But if you have the right attitude and if you have the right skills of being a teacher, which are completely different than any other profession, technical skills that we talk about, and I have been, literally talking about this for years altogether, maybe 1.5 decades now, that teaching skills, there is a technical side to teaching skills. Like every profession, there are technical teaching skills and you need to learn them. You can't say that communication skill is a teaching skill. No, it is communication skill. It's soft skills. Every profession needs it, right? But then there are hardcore teaching skills, technical skills that are required, and that need to be verified. And that is where qualifications make sense.
Absolutely. The pedagogy is more important than content. Everyone needs to know that it's the pedagogy of teaching and learning, which makes you a good teacher. Content can change. It keeps changing.
And I'm so happy that in the ask framework that you have developed, K comes at the end. It's not KSA or KAS, it's ASK. And wow, I think that really makes Shiv Nadar what Shiv Nadar is, right? Superb, that's wonderful. So here's one of the key critical questions that I ask all education leaders, right? As the world as a whole, we are right now facing huge skilled teacher shortage, not teacher shortage, skilled teacher shortage. Mm-hmm. And while everybody's talking about how do we train our current teachers, how do we motivate them, how do we make them better, there's a huge elephant in the room which nobody is actually, addressing, which is how do we motivate the next generations to become teachers? And I'm sure you would have met hundreds of learners in your schools, outside your schools, and nobody comes up and says that my first choice for my career is becoming a teacher. Now, World Bank says we require additional 70 million teachers in the next 5 to 7 years, which is in addition to the current 70 million teachers that there are globally. And teachers are leaving. This gap is increasing, it's not decreasing. So if you had to share a message with the next generations about teaching, that what teaching really is, it's no more that teachers don't get paid. Teachers get handsomely paid today. Good schools like yours are paying handsomely, right? Teachers get challenges every single day. It's not that teaching is not a challenging job. It's not that it's not a rewarding job. So if there is money, there is challenge, there is reward, which is what most of the youngsters are looking for. Why are they still not attracted? Maybe we have not painted the correct picture, right? So if you had to share a message with the next generations and attract them and advise them towards teaching, what would be your message?
The first message would be that they have the opportunity to touch the future, to shape the future, because I think that itself is nothing gives you an educator more dopamine than that you have the opportunity to shape the future generations. When you're speaking to children, by the way you interact with them, by the way they see you interacting with others, by what you say. Because many children, in fact, I have this habit of putting early morning motivational messages for my staff and on WhatsApp. Now started WhatsApp. Initially I used to send a mail, just a 2-liner or a forward or something like that. And as soon as children come into grade 10, I've made their batches on WhatsApp. So I post some motivational messages. So right from the batch of 2019 at Shiv Nadar School, which is the first batch, to now I have the batch of 2024, which will, or 2025, which is just gone into grade 10. I start with 10th and then not younger than that, because they don't know how to handle that. Okay. Being in a close touch with the principal, sometimes they would misuse it. So many children have told me that, ma'am, even though we don't respond to you in the morning, because then everyone will keep saying, good morning, ma'am, but we really look forward to that, because it helps us reflect on something which is important and yet not urgent. Right. So sometimes when we feel low, we just look at that, we scroll through the messages, and we feel that even if the world is not looking at us, Monica ma'am remembers us, and she's going to be putting that message in the morning, which we can go back to. And sometimes when you want to find answers, it's there. So I feel, you can really shape them. And the second thing, which today the millennials would be really happy with, is that there is no other industry which pays you for 365 days, and yet you only work for 220. Absolutely. The kind of holidays you get with full salary in a teaching profession, school teaching profession especially, and it's in India, you have to work 220 days, right, and yet you're paid for 365. Is there any other industry which will pay you so much? No. So, and you get the chance to be a learner yourself, to improve on your skills. There's the kind of, the age diversity which is there in a school, right from those who just passed out at 22, 23 years old to those who are 60, 65, because experienced teachers, we keep, putting them on contract. They might be teaching in the same department, they might be teaching in the same grade, the same class. So the kind of experience of life, of your domain, of skill building, that kind of training ground you will not get anywhere else.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So it's actually a complete package then, right? You get to do what you like, what you like, because, and I'm saying even from a perspective of managing and maintaining your hobbies, because you have a lot of time with you. You could travel the world with the kind of off days you have, and you get to work on the most challenging problems, and you get to work with people who can inspire you and give you new skills on an everyday basis. What else would somebody want, right?
And travel not just in your holidays. You take outward bound learning expeditions with the students. Yeah. So you're also traveling on the school's expense. You don't have to pay for that travel. So it's wonderful. I have been going for all camping trips, till about 2 years back. I was going on most camping trips that grade 11 and 12 was going, because it's a beautiful window into how they are and what they're like in the non-structured school environment. You see the real student outside in the open.
Got it. Great. Amazing talking to you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. I'm going to specifically recommend all our listeners to go search for ma'am's profile, follow her on different social media, because she does share all of these things that you were saying with her learners, and I'm sure she would be sharing some things in different parts as well. And if not, ma'am, I'm requesting you that you please start sharing, because I'm sure this next generation of teachers would want to get inspired by you. And we all have to thank her for delivering such high quality education for thousands of learners around the world, around India. Delhi NCR are the schools that I know. And thank you so much for being with us today, ma'am.
It's been a pleasure, really. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. See you soon with the next episode, listeners. Till then, see you. Bye.